Welcome to, okay. Yeah, I gotta keep remembering to do that. And as I just said, welcome everyone. Pine Grove News Live, 6:01 p.m. here on the East Coast. You need to stay tuned for what I have to tell you tonight, that's for sure. Everyone should know. Everyone should know by now. It's out there. Okay, all I'm talking about. Well, what is this country doing right now? Who are they following? They're all in just entwined with this phenomena going around. I've talked about it before. Right? Where's all your hope today? That's the big question. Where does your hope lie? Well, I hope it doesn't lie with this Q-Anon, because that phenomenon is dead. You'll learn more about that in a few. But in the meantime, God bless everyone. Blessings to all you. I hope your evening is going great, or your afternoon over there in the West Coast. Yeah, a lot of talk right now about what's going to happen over the weekend here in the East Coast. Yeah, so, yeah, you know what? I'll just I'll just bring you this news, this story, this headline right now. Okay, and then I have to put in my opinion, my take on it. Hey, I've been hearing this all night. I worked second shift last night. I heard it all night long on the TV. I had to turn it off a couple times. The Weather Channel, okay, is the biggest, what do you call it? Biggest contributor of this fear porn in this idiotic, fearful, dramatized emanations, or their little stunts that they pull. I mean, wasn't the Weather Channel the ones that caught that guy, pretending the wind was blowing him over in a hurricane while two people were walking past him in the frame, right? Well, all last night, that's all that they were doing. One guy was talking about, all the snow that was coming, the wet, the freezing rain, the mixtures and all this stuff. And this guy literally went through a list of icicles forming and looking like those stalactites, that you see in taverns and in caves. Yeah, and what if one of those came down on your head, and you wouldn't survive that. And he went into multiple instances of how you could be hurt in a snowstorm. So stay home. Stay home, everyone. Stay home. Home. Stay. Don't go out. And your power is going to go out, so you don't want to be out. Stay home. Power's going out. Kind of feel like we're being set up for some false flag. They're talking about, negative temperatures after the snowstorm hits. All this stuff on the ground. I mean, first of all, we'll be picking it up before it gets to negative 15, or they're talking negative 20. In New York on Monday, after our snowstorm, pick the snow up, get it out of the way before it comes. We've had negative temperatures before. Guess what? It's winter in New England. This is nothing new. I don't know if it's because of the children being taught in school, different things, just different things. They're not being taught American history from what I hear. They're being taught socialism, and those people who, lived and ruled in those things. So anyways, winter storm to impact the Central and Eastern U.S. through this weekend. Yes, it's supposed to start Saturday evening and end Sunday morning. And yes, let's see, the last time, I'll even go to my PC, AccuWeather. Last night before we went to sleep, turned off the TV, they had changed it from 6 to 8 inches to, I believe it was 8 to 14. Yeah, winter storm watch remains in effect. So, all right, now they've dropped it down to 4 to 9. Well, that's a big gap. Okay, 4 to 9. Then they got additional details. I'll have to look at that more later on, see what they've changed. They're going to change it, right up until when it starts happening. Yeah, sorry, I had hit the wrong button, so I had to do a restart on the Screencast-O-Matic. Yeah, they are talking about negative temperatures, like I said. For Monday. Like I said, it's nothing new. We've actually, I believe it only happened once, maybe twice, that we had negative 35 degrees. That's with wind chill, of course. I think if the wind wasn't blowing, it was a negative 20, something like that. Well, we lived through it, I was very young at that time. I actually went out driving around. We were at a McDonald's or a Wendy's drive-thru. And it was so cold that the battery blew up. Yeah. Stuck in the drive-thru. Had to push all the way. My truck. Yeah, a truck. So we move on. So we go on. We're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. It's winter in New England. Wow, I'm ready. Got my snowblower sitting out there, undercover from the snow. No biggie. I mean, even if it snowed 2-3 feet, like some people have been getting, especially up in the mountains, 4+ feet, so on and so forth. A lot of talk about a lot of snow. And, this is January. Yes, we got January, February, and March. So here we go. It's just a winter storm. Be aware. Take precautions. Do like everyone else does. Run to the grocery store and empty out the store because, I don't know, that one day, may last a week if they pull a false flag and take the power down. Remember, we had snow in October with all the leaves on there one time. Took a lot of trees out and a lot of power lines down we went the longest. Well, some people went longer, but we were at the end of the line and we went 9 days. Our neighbors were up in 8. So anyway. Yep, that's it. That's that storm. Okay. Man. I just can't, for the life of me. Why everybody just fears these things. I mean, we live here. What's there to fear? Anyways. So, this from Breaking 911, Pennsylvania governor declares a state of emergency. Already. This is the fear report I'm talking about, man. You know how easily they declare a state of emergency now? You remember when it all started. This weather chaos and other things, flash floods and other things that were going on. And they want us to get used to that word, that state of emergency. Yeah, we're going to call even before the storm hits. Yeah. So Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, with an intense winter storm expected to bring heavy snow, high winds, sleet, and freezing rain across the state through the weekend. So Governor Tom Wolf, if you're a guy like name with Wolf, Anyway, today signed a state of emergency declaration to allow for increased assistance and storm-related needs. You have to declare a state of emergency for that? What does that mean? Yeah. Ban on all commercial traffic. That's what it means. It means they're going to shut down the roads and only emergency vehicles and sometimes four-wheel drives are allowed on the road. That's it. I know this because they've done it here many times. And when my wife was younger, she was a nurse's aide, and it was, paramount that she get to work, that the shift be not interrupted, that these people, had their care. And so, she was picked up with someone driving a four-wheel drive, and she got to work and came back. No biggie. This life in New England. I don't know if it's everyone else panicking around, but no, when state declares a state of emergency, it's all gone now. It's all out in the all over the place. Fear, fear, fear. That's what they want. They want you to be in fear constantly. This one from California, remember we were talking about they had a couple storms that were headed their way. I again talked to my brother from World Watchman, actually, Northern California. Says he's got some, low line flooding of areas, no biggies. And another storm, rain coming over the weekend. So this intense storm hit California, claiming at least 6 fatalities and 280,000 customers without power. I'm surprised I did not hear anything like that from World Watchman. You would have mentioned the 280,000 customers without power. I think that's gonna be a reoccurring theme. No power. No power. No power for you. No power. Definitely not gonna have it here in southern New England if you get all this thick, wet snow and then, more or less turn into slush, and then it's going to sleet. So it really could be one big slush ice ball. And there ain't no way you're going to pick that up unless you do it while it's coming down. You're going to have to chop, chop, chop. Yeah. I've seen cars frozen to the ground. Try to move those things, and you could lose the bead around the wheel and pop the tire. Or pop, the seam that holds the air in the tire. May not ruin the tire, but you'll pop, you know what I mean? Break that seam. The car's not going anywhere until you get another tire on there. So, okay. So, Northern California. This is where he's from. The storm downed trees and power lines all around Northern California, causing evacuations across fire-stricken areas. Now, that was the biggest thing that he did tell me about. The fire-stricken areas, the ones where they can't take that amount of water, okay? It's just continually washing all the evidence away, actually. No. There's California for you. You got to be careful about everything you see and watch. Use your discernment. So in the meantime, we're going to, I don't know why that's doing that. But anyway, why that's reloading. Why is everything reloading? Very interesting. Oh, this might have been before I used CC Cleaner. But anyways, I was going to inform you of 2 earthquakes. One today. Figure out which one was which. Oh, come on. Back up, back up. All right, so this one is, obviously in the already well-stricken Ring of Fire earthquake zone. I believe, I'm not sure which one was the one for today and which one was the one for yesterday. But we got one here and we got one over here that I believe was for today, the Pacific one, 6.0. As soon as that loads, this one. Okay, sorry, this was all done before, like I said. Well, then you got this one. happened today, 6.0. I believe that's the way it happened. Not fully 100% sure, but that one down there in the very, very active zone. Okay, lots of big sixes. And Alaska is still rumbling, with their earthquakes. Japan had a 5.8 today, and a volcano that erupted. So, Tokyo, Japan. See, I don't get the 5.8s, but they will put them in a story. 5.8 right here around 11:48 GMT time, Green Mean Time. I don't know exactly how that works. I've looked at it before, but I don't know the distance in hours. Anyway, Tokyo has been rattled by a strong earthquake with residents reported shaking in Japanese capital. Tokyo was hit by an earthquake around 11:45, with the quake initially registering a magnitude 5.8, but it was later downgraded to a 5.0. Of course, of course. Shocked residents recorded their experiences on earthquake tracking website. EMSC. Yes, I have that. That's a good site to go to. EMSC, CSEM, all kinds of warnings, not just about earthquakes, but other ones too. And try.gov. Maybe that's one way to get there. They don't give you the where to go exactly. So with that, I don't know. Maybe I'll just bring you some of this other, let you see this other stuff for a minute here. Before we actually get into talking about this Q-Anon thing, we are definitely going to talk about it. So I'm just trying to think of what else we probably could put in here. Yeah, things like this that's going on in our own government with this smiling, wacky, crazy freaking Speaker of the House who, thinks she's president, by telling the president that he can't have a that address the nation thing that he normally does. But anyways, they're in, promoting people like this. Democrats promote anti-Israel congresswoman to powerful foreign affairs committee. One of these what is she trying to do? Well, we already know what she's trying to do. I mean, she's trying to continue on what Obama has, the damage that he did. Trying to turn this country into a Venezuela, a socialist country. Only we'll be on the worst end like they're going through now, and we won't have any prosperity. Now, socialism is all about people who are in charge, who benefit and reap all the good things, and the other people have to, share everything they got with everyone. Kind of like that, I really don't want to get into that. It just irks me. These you got these allowing these congresswomen. I mean, there's two of them that are, Islam. One that was sworn in with the Quran. I mean, I'm getting really confused these days, I mean, I guess a lot of people are. I mean, maybe that's, confusion, who normally brings that? What does confusion normally do? Well, what happened? I mean, chaos, right? Total chaos. Confusion. That's nothing good about any of that. I'm just confused. I mean, are we still a, Christian nation? Or have has the Islamic, religion going to be taken over? I mean, this is a religion of hate, and I don't care, who you talk to. Read the Quran. It's all about hate. If you don't go and worship the way they worship and have their what do you call ideas, whatever that may be. Yeah, they have a right to kill you. I mean, even if that's in the book, they have a right to kill you if you don't agree. They have a right to lie if it benefits the faith, their whatever it is, belief in Muhammad. Jesus was just a prophet. Anyway, I'm not going to get any further. This, if it's going to be led by this crazy woman, you're going to get crazy things happening. And we got to get rid of these democratic, these party differences. Make it all one republic. I don't know. I hate the politics, but I'm learning a lot about it with these shenanigans. Yeah, I don't want to show you that one. I'm going to leave these two links, okay? I'm going to leave these two links. These are done by American Intelligence Media. And you remember this woman, Dianne Feinstein. Remember when that, I don't know, the Supreme Court nomination, all that stuff, and this woman was head of some committee or some intelligence, and she lied. Was caught bold-faced in the lie during interrogations. And her and or her husband own a 10% in a certain company, which gives them power in that company. And so they basically script what some media are allowed to say. And then they give it to them, and then the talking heads talk. Yeah, there's no more investigative reporting. They get a script, okay? And this is one person and her husband who do that. We know about the six companies that are all scripted. They're all bought and paid for. The one that, Trump is trying to get rid of. CNN. How do you think CNN is able to still keep going? They don't have a viewing audience. They don't have any money to keep going unless somebody's paying them. George Soros, Feinstein's, who else? Anyway, there's two videos here that you should go listen to. And this guy, of course, this is somebody from the UK, which you'll learn about. Soros, I'm surprised he's just not dead yet. He should be arrested and pulled in and tried for crimes against humanity. All the things that he's in countries that he's taken down, and the people that have been killed and murdered because of his endeavors, whatever you want to call them, his evil purposes. And you'll find out about this guy, and you'll find out about the Queen, and all that stuff that you should know about, because apparently we are still ruled by the UK and not by the Constitution. You know that we're not under the Constitution. We should be. But we're not under the Constitution right now. In any case, go learn those things. Go listen to these two videos. I know they're an hour long, but it is very, very educational. Really should listen to it. Okay. So the heck with this other news. We'll just go on to this thing about Q, okay? This is American Intelligence Media again. And I'm only going to play this for a couple minutes, okay? Hopefully this will start ever so gently into what they're calling this Psyop exposed. Just going to let you listen to it, okay? I mean, I'm not going to go and tell you that I told you so or anything like that, okay? That why are you putting all your hope in man? Doesn't Jesus tell you, or the Bible tell you, that you do not put your hope in your cares with man? Man is just flawed completely. We're messed up. Ever since Adam and Eve first sinned, you know about that. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we still are. Well, we were under that curse until somebody came and removed that curse. And so we're saved. You know, he came as our savior, and he saved us. But in any case, put your hope in him, not this man. I've been watching it. You know, I haven't been listening to these Q things. Every once in a while, I see a report, you know, especially by X22. Wonder what he's going to come out with tomorrow, the next day, because he uses quite a bit of the Q into his posts lately. He does a lot of the, you know, political and economic news. So, you know, maybe I'm going to have to go consult him too. But a lot of the country, it was so entwined in this, and come to find out,
about Q. So I don't know where to get started, but let me just say this. If you are heavily invested in Q, and I know that some of our readers are, you might not want to listen to this audio that we're going to do.
No, you definitely listen.
It's going to shatter, perhaps. Perhaps not, but it may shatter what you think of Q.
It will shatter everyone's view of Q, even ours.
Yes, it did.
So
what happened, and let me just preface it. You know that we like to drill down for truth. When we found out that Leader Technologies was the original company that developed social media, we just got over there and we filmed Michael McKibben and we put it up because we're all about truth. When we heard about Senior Executive Services and we had seen all the amazing work that Abel Danger and Phil McConnell had done on this, we said we need to bring this to the top and make sure that all of our readers and viewers know exactly what this is. And
let's just stop there. And before you go and start taking off without listening to this, I'll just have you know that the next video I have, and I'm not going to play this whole video, just a couple minutes of it. There is one video out there that you must hear, and that is from Q themselves.
And now that whole topic is on fire. The next thing that I asked Thomas and the conclave if we could work on is this puzzle about Q. Now, if you've read us for a while, you'll notice that we don't post a lot of stuff about Q. We did in the beginning because we were very interested in the original Q. And those who follow Q know that there was an original Q, and then there appears to have been a force that took over Q and is like a Psyop Q. And then we also watch our media personalities discuss Q. And so we decided, well, let's use the same sleuthing techniques we've used in other riddles to be solved, and let's get to the bottom of Q.
Riddles to be solved.
So that's what we've been doing, and we have found
Puzzles.
The original Q, and that's what Thomas is going to tell you about today. But to preface that, I have been contacted by a number of entities who claim they're Q. So I make sure to ask them a few questions, and they never pass the test, and I never feel that I have found an original. We felt like we were finding something real here, right, Thomas?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, really real. And so what we started doing is we unearthed our research. We started leaving clues on our Truth News headlines that comes out daily. We left some of the big clues a few days ago. And then from that, we were contacted by the original Q group. This weekend, Thomas spent hours on the phone with them, vetting their story.
Okay, so you just know from right then and there that they've contacted this Q group, okay, and talked to them for hours, okay. They've came out of the Q is how do you say it? He came out of the closet, revealed himself. He's no longer an invisible entity. He is now, or they are now, out in the open, because it's not just one, it's two, may have been more, but there's two that are going to talk in the second or the third video. That I'm only going to play very beginnings of them, and then if you want to listen to the rest of it, if you want to, I don't understand if you have any of this Q, if you ever listened to Q and you wondered who it was. You're going to need to listen to it. It will eventually come out, because I believe this was today. They said they talked to him over the weekend, but I don't think so. But this one is from William Mount, okay? After a couple videos of him, what are you saying? Just hinting on what happened. He finally gives me, his William Mount 2 site, and I had to go there to go and find this video and some other information. And then, of course, I went looking from there as well. But be prepared. First of all, there's a lot of swearing, especially in the interviews with these two people who are Q. And Mom, now, the only reason I go to this guy, I followed his, I'm following the link to these Q members. Okay, so with that, I am not recommending what...
Audience in the world, pray for President Trump's safety. Pray that these two men over here, John Kerry number 2 and Obama number 4, I believe, are arrested. And what you're going to hear is just, it's going to make you upset.
I mean, this is the guy that actually said that he predicted this snowstorm that we're having or going to have maybe tomorrow 3 months ago. He claims that God talks to him all the time. He claims that he predicted the attempted assassination of Trump that actually supposedly happened on the 1st and 2nd of January. Some guy walking in the White House or something like that with 2 bottles of Yukon.
He was fake. There were 2 men involved in the hoax of the Q, Manuel Chavez and James Brown. They said they started this under CIATA 3301 puzzle site. They hatched under a live-action role-playing game, they hatched Q. It was a shit-posting hoax verse. They wanted to find out if anybody would follow an unvetted poster. And here we have Jason Burmis talking to the 2 people who started Q. And they...
Okay, and with that, we're going to bring you to that interview. Okay, now what William said in those first 1 minute and 8 seconds is basically what this interview is going to talk about. I think I listened to 26 minutes of the hour, okay, and it took 26 minutes to say what William said in 1 minute 8 seconds, that they were 2 people and they were, something about puzzles and gaming, and they wanted to, and they've done this a lot, and I don't know some of the terminology, maybe you do, about lurking, and they play around a lot, I guess, with social media. They like to do things to other people. They like to learn about somebody, their likes, dislikes, and then go out and create a freaking scenario and put it on the web and bring it to that one person and see how that person reacts. So it's basically just a big see what happens thing. And in the meantime, a lot of people, including these 2 that you're going to hear right now, made a lot of money. Okay? Let's bring you to the beginning. And I'll play it for a couple minutes, and then you decide whether you want to watch the rest of it. Okay, he's going to introduce them now.
Everybody know, we previewed this last night on the live show, and we're doing this live on the backup channel. We'll probably cut this up. We're going to let some people. I did this unannounced today. I wasn't sure whether we were actually going to go live with it, but I really thought we should. So I released this little segment of Luke and I basically discussing the hoax that has now been solved, without a doubt, the Q hoax. And we're going to talk to 2 of the gentlemen, really the brains behind the operation, the person who thought it up in the first place, and then the first person to post as Q. And we're going to find out what this network really was, what the point of this whole thing is, where it got out of control. I mean, to me, this is a bigger story than JFK Jr. being alive, than indictments that never were. It's really about a phenomenon in society. And, a phenomenon that I'm still paying for. If you, again, look at this video, so it's doing pretty well, but, usually we have a 90+% like rate. Let's move on to real issues. You got me. I've seen a couple people do that, but in large, it's not nice to be fooled. But let's meet Q-Anon. Let's do
Yeah. First of all, I wasn't fooled at all. I mean, it was interesting, to say the least, especially the country taking this Q by storm. I mean, they on every word, every syllable, every date, every initial, everything. Just and many people were out there trying to decipher this stuff, but it was just a social experiment, a puzzle. See what happens. Um, and I personally, I thought it was pretty cruel, but our government has uh, has been doing this forever, at least as much as I've been alive, to all of us.
Do it. Everybody, I'd like to introduce you to a couple of gentlemen. One goes by the name DeFango and the other by Dreamcatcher. Dreamcatcher is going to be available through audio only. I'm not going to be taking calls, but I may answer super chats. And by the way, I guess nothing's off limits. I don't think anyone's scared to answer questions here, nor should they be. So let's just get into, first of all, who you guys are, okay? And then we can get into the origin stories of this whole thing. DeFango, let's start with you, and then Dreamcatcher, we'll get to you. Go ahead, DeFango. Oh, and of course his audio's not working. Hey, brother.
Oh, my bad. It was muted. I do this all the time. It's a thing. It's a thing. So, hi, I'm DeFango. I was a chef, and I did a lot of IT stuff in my life. And I'm basically what you call a hacker / mind hacker, where I utilize limited technology to do some pretty wildly interesting things. And I saw an opportunity to take a plan that we came up with, we is something that I was thinking about for a long time based off of a book. And we decided to take it into the next level and actually try to execute it and see what would happen, because we wanted to get some information as far as who's real, like what people out there are actually telling the truth about the information, and what people are actually out there just to get the money. And the only way to really do that is to be in control of something from the very beginning and just watch what people.
So there are a lot of people out there, like he says, that were saying that things that this Q was saying were absolutely, totally truthful. And, just, hitting that hard and making money doing it. And this guy, that was one of the reasons why he did it as well, to point out that these people are just downright liars. And that's all they were interested in is money. That's it.
Say about this thing that just all of a sudden exists. You know what I'm saying? It's a strange situation.
It certainly is a strange situation, but at the same time, a lot of people still are not accepting of this. And what I find fascinating is that you didn't do this, the entire time. You kind of let it take a life of its own, which is even more extraordinary. And I mean, even to this day, no matter how many times this thing has been proved a hoax, no matter how many times they told us the arrests were coming, that Hillary was in Guantanamo Bay, that, John McCain was being executed, and so on and so on and so on, people are still not accepting this. So, again, Santa Claus is not real. And one of the biggest things about this...
Yo, bro, there could be kids fucking watching right now. You can't say shit like that.
I want to talk to Dreamcatcher.
I warned you.
We've got DeFango's story, a little bit of a backdrop here. Well, what's your story? We're going to get to how you guys got together, but, what's your background?
I guess you could say I'm just a shitlord, or if you can call it a shit poster, a troll, whatever that may be. Pretty much I got pretty attracted to the 2016 election like most people. It was sort of like a phenomenon that I think everybody gravitated towards. And then, little by little dabbling on the, whether it be Reddit, 4chan, things like that, it led me to, get linked up with DeFango. And then from there, we sort of put our great minds of, my shit posting skills and his mind hacks, and we established a plan that we were sort of just like, hey, let's just shit post. These are some things that have worked. Let's see where we can go with this. So we dropped down a few posts, And we're like, hey, it's cool. We let it out of the farm. Let's see what happens. And then I guess you could say it got out of hand, and the 8chaners sort of got a hold of it and spun it into their nice web of, I don't even really know what you would call it, but yeah, I mean,
all right,
that's
so
a short story.
I mean, short to you, brother, but there were so many things in there that the average person has no idea what you're talking about. And again, I talked to DeFango for about an hour and a half the other night and really tried to develop this story because, first of all, DeFango, I think you told me you were early 30s. I'm not sure how old you are, Dreamcatcher, but I'm almost 40. I'll be 40 this year. Similar generations, definitely not, at least us two, millennials. And, we kind of grew up, first of all, we grew up in an age with little to no internet. I mean, the internet wasn't even around when I was there. Black and white TVs were still there, and I actually had rotary phone in my house. Okay, I know that a lot of people can't believe those things, but they were real, still part of my generation. And for people to get involved not only so much on message boards, but the websites we're going to talk about that kind of are the origins of this story. When you say shit posting, what the fuck is that? I mean, so I gotta ask, trolling has been, it used to be you were just fucking with somebody or you were lying to them, but now it's almost become an accepted art form called shit posting, correct? And it's almost, you can't wait to see how many people bite on the line. Would that be a correct assumption, Dreamcatcher?
All I can say is, there's a lot of good news out there, but these people just, they're of the world and they just swear it, and it's why it makes it hard for a lot of people. I'm trying not to say these things, and I haven't said them until, you get around this stuff. It just makes it hard. But if you want reliable information, you're going to have to listen to these people of the world because they have, their little, they know what's going on.
100%. I would say you can actually obtain a degree. You sit on message boards and you sort of fine tune your craft. And then from there, you sort of just you throw a bunch of shit at the wall and you see what sticks. A lot of it's targeted towards boomers because what's funny about it is boomers sort of are the ones that always gravitate towards shit posting. Like you could tell them like, hey, the moon is actually the Death Star, and a lot of them will actually believe it. So I mean, it's just sort of how you go about it. It's an art form, and that's the best. That's the simplest description that you can give it, so you don't overwhelm people. And that's sort of the art of shit posting, if that's what you want to call it. But that's just an easier breakdown of it for maybe people that haven't heard the term before.
All right, so
definitely
good.
In our form.
All right, so that's a good base. That there is, obviously you aren't the only.
This is how the government psyops you a lot too. Pay attention.
Seen it in pop
These people are showing you the tricks of the trade.
Obviously, the biggest mainstream media storm has been who is it? That Count Dankula guy with the dog, and he's the first shit poster that I was aware of that I'd ever heard the term used for. So now I want to bring it to how some people that like posting on the internet and basically messing with people and see who believes. Oh, we've got proof, guys. I wouldn't say art form, but I'm looking in these. We've got proof. I'm going to get some of the super chats. I see one already that's asking, do you live stream or do you ever film yourself posting with a smartphone? So they're asking if you had filmed yourself maybe posting some of this stuff with a smartphone. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I've already seen enough evidence, forensic evidence, metadata in some of these posts that there's no doubt that these are the guys that started this. So let's get there. There's a group of you guys, shit posters, that also kind of coincides with the hacking community, and you go to DEF CON for the first time. For those not aware of what DEF CON is, this is a group of not only white hat, but black hat, and, I guess gray hat. That's also terminology, hackers. They get together once a year. It's a place that you don't want your phone. You want to turn that off. You want to bring a burner. But it's also a place where people, I wonder why, where people can get together. Now, I guess I have to preface this with you being a member of the Cicada site. Because I didn't know what this was, but there is a Cicada site, and what everybody's like, what that? Basically, it's a puzzle site. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's like a puzzle site. It's like this internet mystery group that was on the internet that also was born on 4chan, just so happens. But it was like this puzzle that was on the internet for a while. I'd spent some time solving another puzzle called Tangri 137, and then I decided to take a crack at this one when it came up again in like 2017, and then I started solving these puzzles, and it's lots of stenography. It has to do with cryptography, and it's a whole mess of different things. So you're dealing with audio files, video files, and a host of other things, and it's basically you're trying to get to the end of a sort of puzzle. And I think that like a lot of the stuff that went into doing this was based upon things that were learned from how this actual situation operated, because most people would be able to say that like one of the most successful operations that was ever run on 4chan was probably the Cicada 3301 puzzle that went out back in like 2012.
Okay, that's all I'm going to play. No sense. If you're interested, I'll leave the link, of course, like I normally do. So there you have it. QAnon is out of the closet, so to speak. Q has been revealed. All I have to say to those people who, who have put all their time and all their hope into thinking that maybe, America is going to be turned around with some insider, and, it still may happen. Who knows? The Lord only knows. It's His will that will be done. But I just, a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, I just felt I had to come out and say too many Americans, too many people are putting their hope in this man or men or woman or group or whatever. Too much hope into what this person was saying or not saying, cryptically or not. And I just had to speak out against it, because there's only one person that I am going to put my hope in. And of course, that's Jesus Christ, who was a man, who was a God, and then came down and became a man. He came to die for our sins, because he that we were just cursed. We were, flawed. After we sinned, we just became flawed. And he came with love, with so much love for his creation, that he wanted to save him. And the only way to save him is to be that sin, be that curse. And so he came here, and he accepted all of our sins, now, past, present, and the future ones. If only, you repent and believe on him. I mean, if you're going to believe in this invisible person, this Q, okay, or this Mike from around the world, okay, another invisible person, why? If you're going to believe in somebody who is physically invisible and spiritually quite the opposite. I mean, if you want to believe in something positive. There is nothing positive about any of this stuff from man. Where does man always lead us? To hell. Man is corrupt, and there is not anything that man can do to create any kind of peace, any kind of lasting peace anyway, any kind of hope for any kind of future. He's always messing it up, always burning it down, always blowing it up. And you want to believe in a man like that? No. Believe in a man that was God and then went and became Spirit God again. That is where my hope is, and that's where I hope you can get your hope with. It'll change your life. It will. It'll change your life. It'll change your mentality. There are so many blessings if you only believe in him. Have your hope in him. With that, everyone, I want to say God bless and happy Sabbath for those who celebrate the Sabbath, and we all should take that one day and spend it with the Lord creating a relationship with your creator instead of Q-athon or Q-Anon, however you like to say that. I'm sure there was a Q-athon somewhere, but haven't found him yet. But in any case, yes, again, we are fooled by man. God bless, and keep your family close, very close. You never know what's going to pop up next. Peace out, everyone.